The Harjinder Thin Show.
Minister, welcome. Thank you very much for joining us today.
Thank you very much, Harjinder. It's great to be back on RedFM with you.
Thank you. And under this open sky agreement, why Amritsar wasn't included into those airports? Can we fly directly to Amritsar?
Look, thank you for giving me the opportunity to speak with you and your listeners about this. This issue has been personally important to me and to many of my colleagues in the House of Commons, many of our caucus Liberal MPs on the West Coast, in Peel, in Ontario, have been repeating and reflecting our constituents' needs, and we've been having conversations and about this. And we at the Government of Canada wanted to do everything we can. So last spring, when the Indian Minister of Civil Aviation, Minister Scindia, was in Canada, I met with him personally, and I made an ask. I said, we would like to have direct flights to Amritsar. The Indian government was not ready yet to expand the agreement to have direct flight to Amritsar. However, what we agreed on maybe a middle solution, which is expanding or lifting the cap that currently existed at the time of 35 flights a week. So this was a win for Canadians who want to travel to India. Now we have more options of more flights, but I agree that our ideal objective was to have the ability to fly directly to Amritsar. Unfortunately, the Indian government is not ready at this time, but we will continue. I will personally continue to advocate to work with the Indian government on figuring out when can we have those direct flight options.
But our understanding is that you can still add another point of Amritsar, additional 6 airports. So is it up to the Indian government or is it up to the Canadian government to ask your airlines?
I can assure you, and if anybody's telling you otherwise, I think they're not giving you straight goods. We need the Indian government to approve direct flights to Amritsar, because the current agreement, even with the expansion agreement, only allows Canadian Airlines to fly into only 6 designated airports, and Amritsar is not one of them. And in order for us to add Amritsar, we need the Indian government to agree to that.
But if you talk to Mr. Scindia, or the Indian government is refusing your offer to fly to Amritsar directly, then you can give an argument that the number of passengers, the majority of the passengers are flying to Punjab. They have the statistics, not to Calcutta, not to Madras or Chennai or, Hyderabad. So this is a very solid argument that majority of the people are going to Punjab, India, and they want to go to Amritsar.
To echo your point, Harjinder, I reminded Minister Scindia that during the pandemic, when we evacuated many Canadians who were caught in India, who were visiting India at the time of border closures, and then we did airlifts to bring them home, they came out of the Punjab.
Exactly.
So I reminded him about the demand of many Canadians who want to fly directly. So he understands that. Again, however, we need the Indian government to agree to allowing for direct flight to Amritsar, and at this time they're still not agreeing.
So it's not up to you or to the Canadian government then. So you're saying that it's the Indian government that's not approving a direct flight to Amritsar. Is that correct?
Yes, it is 100% correct. And I'll repeat, we want to see direct flights. We have asked, and we will continue to ask for direct flights for Amritsar. The solution that we have today is a good step because it still increases the options for travelers. However, ideally, we want to see direct flights to Amritsar, and I can assure you and your listeners that we as a government, I personally and many of my colleagues will continue to advocate for direct flights to Amritsar. We need the Indian government support for that to happen.
Mm-hmm. So did they give any valid reason for refusal?
You know, it's not up to me to say if it's a valid reason or not. And I think the Indian government should probably do the job of explaining what their rationale is. For me, I still think it's our job is still not complete. I still would like to see direct flight to Amritsar, and I'm going to continue to advocate and work with the Indian government on getting us there.
No, we really appreciate this, Minister. Thank you so much for clarification, because we were under this impression before that Indian government is not allowing, but when you said, quote unquote, you said that it's a step forward about this agreement, open sky agreement, then we thought, and we had more information that Indian government is not in the way. It's up to the Canadian government to make a call that which airport they can fly, and you can provide them a list of the airports. But now we trust you. Probably they have a reason that we don't know, that now you don't know, that they are not allowing it, they're not approving Amritsar Sahib.
Yeah, and look, it is unfortunate. I mean, I'm a politician and we're in politics, and sometimes people will take advantage of spreading misinformation for partisan sake. So I find that unfortunate when people put their political or partisan interest ahead of the truth. The truth of the matter is, no government has been more vocal about defending the interest of Canadians who are of Indian backgrounds, who are from the Punjab, than this government. We will continue to advocate for more options. We need to collaborate and cooperate with the Indian government to make that happen. But ultimately, India needs to approve that. I still think this was a good step. I still think lifting the cap is an improvement that will make it easier for Canadians who want to travel to India. But ultimately, I really want to see direct flights to Amritsar, and we will keep advocating for that.
Mr. Alghabrah, thank you very much. Accept our sincere thanks for your time. Thank you.
Thank you.